Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of my motion graphic series. And well, just a quick disclaimer, it might be a little noisy here and there because there's a storm outside right now, outside my window. But anyways, let's get started with this video. So last episode we created this neat animation, which already looks pretty cool in my opinion. And now we gotta make this burst right here, this whoops, and then maybe also this falling ball, and then the rest we will cover in the next animation, next episode. Anyway, so now we're gonna create this burst effect, which we can see here. So in order to start with this, I would recommend clicking Control-Shift hashtag or apostrophe. I don't really know how it is on the Windows keyboards. Anyways, now we got this grid, and what we want to do now is go to View and select Snap to Grid. So now we're going to select this tool right here, or just click G for the pen tool, and then click just somewhere around the middle, maybe around here, and then you can see this point will snap to the grid. So we will drag it just the same x-axis as our middle of the screen is, and I will actually drag it to the very outside of our square, and then I'm gonna click Shift and make another point, maybe right here. We can change that afterwards too. Okay, now we got a line. We created a line with this tool, and if you don't see a stroke here, just click on this field and select the color, and then you can select how big you want it to be. I'll go for maybe 24 pixels. Then you can just click somewhere down here just to unselect this path, and click V again, so you have this tool selected again, and then just scroll out with the mouse, so you zoom back, and then you could either click on this shape layer, go down to contents, shape, stroke, and then line cap, round cap. This does, it rounds the cap on the outside, and the other way would be a click on this and then just type in cap. It's way easier, and then select round cap. That's how I always work, but it's I think it's depending on taste. Anyway, now I'm gonna click just expand this shape layer again, click on add, then select trim paths. Okay, I think we haven't done trim paths yet, so I'm gonna have to show you what this is now. So as I already told you, this is a path right here, which we created beforehand. And what trim paths does, it trims the path. So as it says here, the start is at 0% and the end at 100%. What this means, the start of our path is this point here. We can see that when I click on G, this has like this has an additional line on the outside, but the other one doesn't have that. As you can see, it's just a single point. So this is our first vertex, as it is called. So this is the start, and this is our end. And as we can see, it's going from 0% to 100%, so it's a full path. But if I drag this down a little, it's not full anymore. So that's how we can animate those little paths. We can already see a little problem here, because we have the round cap, and the round cap doesn't disappear smoothly. It just, at the end, it just disappears like from one point to another, which wouldn't happen if we would have the butt cap selected. This is because the round cap makes an additional little half circle and then half pipe. So I'm gonna show you how to fix that when we create this animation. So at first, just drag the end to 0, make a keyframe, and go somewhere like 15 frames forward, and just type in 100 or drag it to the very maximum, and then you're gonna do the same but a little offset with the start thing. So make a keyframe at 0, and then at the end one at 100. What this does, first the path will appear, and then the start will disappear again. So you're gonna use this a lot, I'll tell you. Okay, I think this is a bit too fast. So I'm gonna select those two and drag them a little forward. Then I'm gonna select those two and click F9. And let's see. Okay, I'm gonna drag this start one. You gotta have to experiment a bit with those keyframes so you get the principle of this trim paths effect. But I hope you understood what I meant with this whole thing. So I'm gonna select all these keyframes again, click on our graph editor, and select those 2 points and drag those out pretty harsh. Yep. I'm gonna have to tweak this a little again, so it's gonna look good. Okay, this is already pretty cool, I guess. But now we're gonna make this circular repeating effect. Like here we have 8 repeating of these shapes. So now we're not gonna duplicate them and rotate each of them just by a little bit, because there is a tool made for that. Just click on add again, and then click on repeater, and you can let's say 8 copies as in our original animation, and then you will see this is gonna be very strange. That like one is here, the next one is here, the next one is here. So we're gonna go down to transform, and the reason why this is the position is set to +100 each copy. So the first one is gonna be here, the next one is gonna be 100 further on the x-axis. This is just so you can see, okay, the repeater is working, there are 8 copies now. But we don't need that, just type in 0 here, and then we just want it to rotate around this anchor point. So what we're gonna type in, so I'm just gonna show you what this does. So when we drag this up, you know, each of the copies will rotate that value more than the before copy. So what we're gonna type in is 360 by 8, because we got 8 copies. And then it's gonna look pretty cool. Okay, then I'm gonna drag this down underneath my square, so it's gonna come from like underneath it. Okay, then I'm gonna make the path a little shorter, but just dragging, I forgot to say, click on this layer, select G or this tool again, and then just click this, click shift, hold it, and then you can tweak it. Okay, let's see how this looks. Yep. Okay, now we can see this harsh disappearing effect of those little things. So I'm gonna click Control Shift and hashtag or apostrophe again, just to let the grid disappear. And well, then you can see it's gonna disappear from one frame to another. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna animate our stroke width. Maybe you remember the stroke width. This is this thing right here. So what we want to do is we want the stroke width to reduce at its end, so it's gonna disappear smoothly. So I'm gonna select this layer and type in stroke, and then stroke width is gonna appear. So I'm gonna make a keyframe here, and then at the very frame when it disappears, make another keyframe and set it to 0. So now you're gonna see this. It's gonna get smaller at the end. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, in my opinion, this looks pretty good. Okay, maybe drag this a little earlier in the timeline. Yep, now it's good, I think. Okay, only the color, maybe change the color to something else. Let's see, what do we got? Whoops. Okay, I'll just stay with this color, even though it looks a bit ugly, but I don't care. Now, next thing we're gonna do is this falling circle. Okay. I think we're not gonna make the breaking part today. I'm not sure if we got time for that, because this circle is gonna need a little time for explaining physics and so on. So yeah, let's just get started with the circle. So yeah, I'm gonna select my ellipse tool, or just press Q as often as you need to get to the circle, and and then I'm just gonna create a random circle somewhere. I don't know, it doesn't even matter. And when you create it, select Control and Shift, drag it out a little. Then I'm gonna click on stroke and on none, so we don't have any stroke, and voila, that's a circle. Select this shape and click on Y, and then drag this to the middle, click Command so it snaps, and yeah, then we pretty much got the circle. Then we can tweak it around a little by going down ellipse path and change the size to, whoops, that's a little too small, maybe 80, nope, 100, nope, 130, yep, that should be good. Okay, now we want it to fall down from the very top. So at first we're going to create a position keyframe. In order to do that, just press P and then make a keyframe. And then maybe drag it up so it is just not visible. Yep, like this. And then it should fall down and bump on our square for the first time this time. Okay, I'm just gonna make some keyframes. Okay, and the next keyframe, it's gonna bounce up a little again, like that. And then, as we already have seen here, it kind of goes through it, but it has a little bit of a tension right there. Okay, so it's gonna be here, and then it's gonna go down to the very bottom of our screen again. Those are just some provisional keyframes, just so I can orientate myself a bit about the actual position of the circle. Now, as we can see, this circle only moves on the y-axis. And what we can do now, which you should actually have done earlier, but I forgot, right click our position and click separate dimensions. Then you can delete all the keyframes for the X position. If you don't do this, our graph editor will get a bit fucked up. Anyways, I'm gonna select all of those, press F9, and then I'm gonna go into the graph editor. We're gonna need a lot of graph editing for this circle. So now you gotta think how a ball falls down. So in the beginning, it's gonna be very slow, accelerating, and then it's gonna bump with a high speed onto the square. And now we don't want these to be like this. This is our bump keyframe. It should bump up again very fast. So press Alt, and then you can make a peak this time. Okay, so it's gonna look like, yep, that's pretty good. And then here it's gonna get really slow again, and here too, and here it's gonna just be slow at the end. Okay, let's see. Okay, that was a bit too exaggerated, and then those two keyframes should be a little earlier. Okay. You gotta experiment a lot at these keyframes, especially at physics keyframes. Like these are to define physics, gravity. Okay, this was pretty... What just happened? Okay, that was not good. Okay, we gotta drag this one down, and then this one, maybe like this, and then this is the end where it falls down. You gotta imagine this whole graph inverted. So you know it's falling down, bump, then it's on the peak again, and then it falls down, and it hits the square. Then it has a little bit of resistance at this point, and then it accelerates again. Yep, okay, this should be pretty good, only that it is a bit too slow, so I'm going to select all of them, and this is going to be very useful. Click Alt, and then select the last keyframe, and then just drag it so you can scale it down, the whole animation. Okay. Okay. Yep, this should be pretty good. Okay, and now we're gonna do squash and stretch, which is pretty much to make this whole physics thing more realistic. Okay, and now in order to squash and stretch our circle, well, I'm gonna select this circle and type in scale. And we don't want to use the layer scale, because if you would have more than one circle, it would scale the whole layer down, not only this circle. So we're just gonna use this scale one, yeah, right here. Okay, so this tool is gonna be selected, but you have to deselect it, unclick it, because we don't want to constrain proportions. We don't want it to stay a circle. We want it to squash and stretch. So, well, I think for you, this little thing, this anchor point is in the middle. So I'm going to show you how to get this to the bottom. So not the layer anchor point. We don't need that. Click on transform of the ellipse, and then you're going to see another anchor point, which is the shape anchor point. And you're going to have to drag this down to the bottom and eyeball it because it doesn't snap. Yep. Anyways, so now we gotta think squash and stretch. When it's accelerating, it should stretch and then squash at the very bottom. So I'm gonna set a keyframe when it's on the top. Okay. And another one here. Okay, and here it should be pretty much stretched. So you gotta scale the y-axis up and the x-axis down. Okay, and then here it should be pretty much squashed. So this one should be at maybe 120 and this one at 85. Okay. Oh, and I forgot, if you want to move one frame forward on the timeline, select Control and press the arrow forward. Okay, then you're gonna be on the next frame in the timeline. Okay, now here it's gonna be stretched again, but not too much. Maybe like this. Okay, then on the top it's gonna be pretty much a circle again. Okay, let's see how this looks like for now. Okay, this is a bit too fast, we can't even see it. Okay, so I'm gonna spread those. Whoops. Okay, yeah, this already looks good, only that the position should be a little further down. Okay, let's see. Yep, okay, that's pretty good. go to our scale again. Whoops, you can just click on this layer and press U so you can see all the keyframes, which is pretty practical. Well, then it's gonna stretch again. Okay, 110 and 90. And here it's gonna squash again. Whoops, this to 110 and this to 90. Okay, and then it's gonna stretch again. Yep. Okay, and this should stretch pretty hard. So 75 and 125. Whoops, not 1000. Okay. Yep, that's pretty good. Only that the position has to be a little further. Just press P. Has to be a little further down. Okay. Yep, that's pretty. I think that's pretty good. It's even better than in the original. Yeah. Okay. Now, well, I know we didn't do that much in this episode, but trust me, this squash and stretch and physics and gravity is such a big chapter. You have to experiment a lot here, and well, maybe you think, well, we didn't do much in this video. Remember, we did this burst, which you will use a lot, and we did this smooth ending of the burst, which a lot of professional motion graphic designers don't even do, because they don't think it's necessary or they don't know about it, I don't know. And then we learned this physics, this falling down and squash and stretch, which is pretty useful. And yeah, in the next video we're gonna do this whole splitting animation and maybe also these little accents, this falling down traces and this text, and of course this circle blob. And well, I guess I'll see you in next episode.